Hey guys, welcome to part 3, and hopefully at this point I think it's going to be the finale for this 2014 Camaro. Hopefully this week we've got all the parts here, so there shouldn't be anything stopping us now from getting the whole front bumper put back together and getting headlights and all the little bits and pieces of the front of the car installed back on, and getting all of our gaps right, putting this trim panels back on, the inner fender liners, and just all the little touch-up stuff to get this car totally finished. And I think we should be able to do it and give you a price breakdown. That's the goal. So we'll see how much we can get done right after this. Alright, so I went ahead and cleaned the car, got the hood all washed since it was so filthy before, because I think we're going to sand it. And we got the gaps right and everything on the top and on the side. So let's go ahead and jump over on this other side, get this other fender installed, and then we'll start some sanding. Alright, so I've got this hood shut and the gap taped for two reasons. One, to keep me from sanding into this edge, and also to keep the sludge, all the junk that we sand off, to keep it from running down there and getting it all in the cracks. And we'll see how it's looking real quick after 2000. If that's take too long, we'll have to go to 1500. So let's sand. Alright guys, so we're here this morning and we're going to start working on the other side of the Camaro. We've got to install that other fender and then just keep on sanding on the front. I've sanded the other side, and as you can tell by the shot there, we got dull right side or dull left side if you're driving, and the right side is still shiny. So Andy's here somewhere, and I think he's going to come in and start helping me to sand, since he does a good job with that when he's home. Oh, there you are.
Return to help sand, as is my custom, and to get my hat.
Okay, well, let's start sanding then. So we've got this thing sanded down to really, you can still see a little bit of texture in it, but not very much. You look at it in the light. It's enough to where I think it's going to look good once we buff it, but I don't want to go much more because I don't know how many coats of clear was on the hood since we didn't paint that. So what we're going to do is jump over onto the bumper, and we're going to sand this top part over to this ledge right here because that mates to the hood. And then we've got a few little dust nibs that came, let's see, right in here I think. Yeah, there's one. There's one right here. We'll sand those out, and then we'll buff it all out, and then it'll be time to put this bad boy together. All right, so we are done with the sanding, the bumper, hood, and tops of the fenders. So now we're going to go ahead and cover the car with plastic just so we don't make a big mess of everything when we start buffing. And my least favorite part, well, second least after the sanding, is the buffing. So let's get this done, and then we'll get to my favorite part, putting them back together. Whew. Glad that's done. Let's get this thing cleaned up. There's the headlights we ordered for the Camaro. These These are aftermarket ones. Hopefully they plug up right and fit. Got this headlight installed and finally got all the stuff figured out behind it, how to hook it up. These aftermarket headlights have 0 instructions whatsoever, but we finally got it where it's working, so I'm just going to try to get it lined up where I can get all the bolt holes started. And once you get there and turn it on, and I'll see what it looks like. Ooh, yeah, signal. There's the fog light. Yeah. Alright, so we've got everything on this side's working, so that's good. Okay, I'm getting ready to install this other side. We had to go to the store to find a clip. We were one clip short, this little bitty thing right here, so we had to drive all the way into town to find that. And they didn't have it, so we ended up looking around in our scrap pile and found one on an old Fender.
Welcome once again to our bumper assembly facility.
And we have everything we need for assembly here, if we can get it all snapped in there, because we don't have our heat gun. So we're going to hopefully, usually you need to heat all this stuff up so it makes it more pliable. But we'll see what we can do about getting it all snapped in there without breaking tabs and stuff. But I think every piece is here. We're missing a few little bitty clips and stuff, but I have some little assortments that I think we can use to put these in, and we'll just see how it goes. Well, here's what we've got done so far, and we are kind of at a standstill because we need a heat gun and we need a couple clips before we can put this chrome trim piece that goes up above the headlight, like that one. So, and we need heat to finish getting the fog lights in, because man, they are tight to try to get it snapped in there. So we're pretty much stuck till we can do that. But we did get, if you guys remember, we've got mismatched wheels. Remember, we've got the like the brushed, painted, or whatever that is, like a silver wheel there, and these back ones are like chrome, like a brushed chrome. And so we didn't want to do that with just leave those like that. So, and they're staggered, you can't switch sides or anything like that. So we've got narrower ones in the front and wider ones in the back. So on Facebook we found a deal for a set of the ones that match the rear for $425. So I went ahead and bought those. Let me show you those real quick. Well, here they are in front of the old Solstice, or behind the old Solstice. So as you can see, I don't know if you can tell from there, but the first one and the third one are the rear ones. They're a little wider than this one. So we need this one right here, and this one right here, and then we'll just sell those other back ones like we've already got. And go ahead and get those mounted on the tires we've got, and we'll be good. The dog is waiting, ready for attack, down in the grass. Hello, Finn! Alright, so I got my heat gun back and went ahead and heated up the stuff back behind there. And heat just does amazing things when you're working with like plastic bumpers or just anything plastic, as long as you don't hold it in one spot too long and get something too hot and melt. I just kind of gently heat it up in here, and when you do that, I mean, you can just twist that in and it just, all those little tabs just pop right in there. So that's done. The fog lights are in. Those tabs popped right in. I got to put a couple more little clips on back behind there, and then this bottom little rubber piece that goes along the bottom, and then we're ready to install this thing. So I'll get that done real quick off camera. That's boring, and then we'll put it on the car. One thing I want to do while it's still early is go ahead and jack up the front of this car and get these front tires off and get them to the tire shop with the new rims, so that the tire guy can have time to switch those for me today. So by the end of the day I can put those back on and we'll be done with this car, hopefully, unless we're missing some part somewhere that I don't know about. So let's jack it up and get those off and get them to the tire shop. All right, so now comes the moment of truth. The tires are at the tire shop getting switched over. We've got all the clips and everything on the back of the bumper, and it should be ready to put in. So this is the hard part, because you've tried to get everything lined up on the left side, the right side with the hood, and when you put a bumper on, especially one this big, it's the thing that ties it all together. So you're hoping your gaps line up right and all the little holes. I mean, look at all those holes that have to line up on both sides and up underneath. So it's just a lot to line up on a car that had frame damage. But Dan is really good, and I'm sure he's got it lined back up right. So let's get that on there and see what we need to do. Okay, that was a killer, but it is on. So I still got to put the little clips in here, holding these things on, but the holes line up good, so that should be easy. And then I'm going to get underneath there and make sure my gaps are right at the back part of that fender before I put the bolts in. Way back up in there, or the nuts on, getting that tight on both sides, and it'll be time for fender liners. And first look at the hood gaps. Let's see what it does here. Not closing it all the way, but I've got some adjustment right here. It needs to come out just a little bit. It's gonna be pretty close. Look at that line. I mean, right down the middle. All right, so both fender liners are in, and the bolt pile, parts pile, is getting small. That's always a good sign. So we're done with that. Next thing is to put these seal plates or ground effect stuff back on, and I'll go through and make sure all the pieces of the clips that we took off when we ripped it off of there. If you guys remember that, see all these little pieces of clips left on there, so all those need to be popped out. And then we got new clips that we'll put in the actual piece right here. See, all the clips most of them are gone. So that's the little things that get you at the end of the build. I mean, you had to buy like 20 some odd clips, and those things are pretty expensive. So do that, and we'll snap all that back on, and hopefully the tires will be back in an hour or two, and then we can get those installed and get this thing outside and wash it. So that snapped on really easily, and I may or may not have a little bit of Solstice overspray on there that I might have to clean off. So next step, on this side, I'm going to go ahead and put that badging on there. That's a nice gap. Look at that. It ended up being pretty good. So that's one reason I always save the fenders. I can That's one thing you kind of forget about, is you got to put this stuff on at the end, and this will let me measure exactly where they were at the factory. So I'll measure over, looks like about 1.25 inches there, and so far down from the body line here, and get all that measured. And then I'm going to use wax and grease remover on the fender, just make sure it's good and clean. We'll stick it on. New tires here, so let's get them mounted, get this thing out, and get this thing washed. Alright, so here we see the freshly washed Camaro. What do you guys think of the aftermarket headlights? I like them. I think they're cool looking. So it's all finished. Now all I gotta do is wait for umpteen weeks for the Missouri Department of Revenue to get me a title, because it takes them 3 months to get you a title. Other than that, it's ready. We'll pull it back in and we'll do a price breakdown of this whole build. Okay guys, it's time for the big parts breakdown. You're asking yourself, why is he sitting on the floor next to the Camaro? It's because Andy can have a nice whiteboard to put the prices on right here. So our winning bid on the Camaro was $7,100. The fees that we had to pay to Copart, which have gone up since this a whole lot. This was $728. Wait till I get to ZR1 when we do that, what the fees were. We had to pay shipping because this was in Dallas, Texas, so that was $757.85. Taxes, $420.98. And then comes all the stuff in the front. So this is mainly just front damage. So we had the bumper, $282.75. The fenders, $303.56. All those little parts just add up so fast when you put together a bumper, all the little pieces and parts. $372.92 for some of them and $78.23 for some more. We add all those together. Had the tires that were originally on here put on the new rims. That was $40 for the labor. The new rims were $425. Headlights, $469.99. Bulbs, $33.55. Fog light, $21. And I spent $77 in paint. So when you add all that up, it's $11,111.08. So what do you guys think we can sell this for? We should be able to make a little money on this. I mean, this is a really nice 2014 Camaro that has 47,000 miles on it maybe. And these aren't any slouch. I mean, you think, oh, V6 Camaro, but they still had 323, I think, horsepower. So they can get up and go. I mean, there's plenty of power in there. And I just love the design of these things. They're super sharp. The lines on them, I really like it. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments below if you think we can make any money on this. And if you like this build, it was a really quick one for you guys. It was forever for us because we were waiting on so much stuff. But 3 episodes and it's done. And this is also a t-shirt giveaway week. So if you'd like to have one of these shirts, rebuilding on it, make sure you comment down below, it's done. In the comments, it's done. And you have to make sure that you are a subscriber to our channel. And we'll do a drawing next week. You're a winner, we'll send you one for free. So thanks again for watching this episode and for this whole build, and we'll see you next week.
And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. See you guys next week. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.